When we get 1,000 subscribers, should I get studs or hoops?
I think you get a stud in one and a hoop in another.
No. Gotta be symmetrical.
I'm always partial to the hoop. What if your wife wants to chain you up by your nipples?
No.
It's nice. It's got some options.
I'd rather use like battery clamps. We're not, trying to...
Hello! Welcome to Bardicaggravation. That's Brandon. That's Rick. I'm Kent.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of 0.9 rules.
Yeah, we're doing the subclasses because the 0.9 is out. We had the wizard last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was when you're watching this. So now we're doing the fighter, which is called the champion in DC20. We're going to refer to it as the fighter because we're trying to... DC20 people know this, but for you D&D 5e homeless people, then we're going to speak in that language so you can know what we're talking about. But if you hear us say the champion, it means the fighter, and vice versa.
They're not homeless. They're just temporarily without a...
Well, that's what I mean. Displaced.
Yeah, displaced.
Sleeping on different TTRPG couches.
Yeah, sleep until they figure out where they want to live.
That's a great analogy.
Just couch surfing till you figure out.
This has been... I think the DC20 couch is pretty damn comfortable.
We love it.
Level 1. This whole thing is like totally changed, right? From top to bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can't look at the 08 and we can go, this is what's changed, because it's all pretty much changed. We'll give you a few little things, but we just start from the beginning with this one and level 1. And first of all, how is it different than the D&D fighter? Because let's get that out of the way.
Everybody is a battle master.
Every martial class in DC20 is a battle master. You get maneuvers.
So cool. A lot.
There's no reason to play the D&D fighter, even if you're playing D&D, because it's so lame, unless you're playing the battle master. And again, here, the monks, the rogues, the commanders, you get it, barbarians, they all have maneuvers. They're all battle masters.
All of them.
At level 1, they all get 7 maneuvers.
Ooh.
That's a lot.
7 maneuvers. A wizard in this game at level 1 has 6 spells. So you have more to do on your turn than a magic user at level 1.
As a warrior.
As a warrior, as a fighter, as a martial.
Champion.
So how about that balance divide fixed? So they get start off with the 7 maneuvers. You get 3 attack maneuvers plus 4 of your choice from defense, save maneuvers, and grapple maneuvers. So you can just customize your fighter however you want to because they know these maneuvers and this is what they specialize in. Some can be more defensive. They shield, they parry. Some can be more, I trip and I throw and I headlock and I give you a wedgie and throw you in a locker.
Fantasy fulfilled.
Yes.
Right? Fantasy fulfilled.
Whatever you want to do.
It's there.
It's up to you. Very customizable, this game. That's why we love it. It's so customizable, you don't actually need any other reason to play it and to switch than that. You customize your race, your weapons, your armor, your class. Everything's customizable. So... what are you doing playing D&D? Come on.
But does it come in purple?
Comes in purple. So the first thing you get, level 1, is what? You're a what? You're a...
Master at Arms.
Master at Arms, like the He-Man guy, right? Was that his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Arms Master.
He was just Master at Arms, like the Arms Master. I don't know. He had that rice patty helmet and the big mustache like Rick's.
Master.
What does this give you? It gives you things.
So this is I view this as all your training, right? As a champion, as a fighter.
With weapons.
You have training, so your training gives you weapon mastery.
You can swap any weapon for any other weapon in your hand as a free action. That's what you can do.
Ooh, that's fun.
So it's nice. You don't have to...
Did I just get hit in the freaking forehead with a penguin?
Yeah, at least we got rid of that penguin.
No, I don't like penguins. I used to like them.
See what you've done?
Like
You're going to make everybody hate penguins.
But I was a weapon master. I could freely swap weapons.
You can trade the penguin for the unicorn.
Yes.
You see how easy? And it's a free action. It doesn't cost you an action point.
So for other classes, it takes, what, 1 action point to flip out your weapon, right?
And who cares? You're never going to. But just in case you want to, here you go.
Yeah.
There's better stuff.
What
Plus
else did it
2.
do?
You get 2 more maneuvers. So now you have 9.
Roll!
At level 1.
At level...
Now, of your choice. You pick them. You decide which 2 maneuvers you want to add to that original 7. Now you got 9 maneuvers at level 1. So you're the only martial class that gets 9. Everybody else gets 7. You're like so versatile.
Yes.
You can do anything on the battlefield.
You're not a one-trick pony where you're just slash, hit, slash.
Even better than that is you get a technique at level 1.
Already?
What's a technique?
Technique is a specialized thing you can do.
It's like a super feat.
Yes.
It's a maneuver, but better. It's like it's a super maneuver.
Super maneuver.
You can take your maneuvers and you can dial them up to 11. They're just really cool. We're going to do we already did a video about that. I'll put a link here, but we'll do another one when the changes come. And nobody else gets a technique to level 2 because they're just, you're not ready for them. But you are, as a fighter, champion. You get a technique so you can really, you can't do it every turn. These things take stamina points. Every martial class has stamina points they can spend on certain things. So you're going to spend those. You can replenish them in battle very easily.
Right. And
It's not like you only get one and then you got to wait, do a long rest. There's none of that. You're going to get it right back, but you got to work for it a little bit. So you can pump out a technique and really, really wow everybody.
But because you're a champion, you get the added benefit of not having to use your stamina point to do this technique once per combat.
Once per combat, you can pull off a technique and reduce its stamina point cost by 1. So if it costs you one stamina point, it's 0 free.
But that's
if it
only
costs you 2, it'll cost you 1. That's not the end of level 1, so that's the first thing. That's the first thing you get.
No.
What's the next thing you get?
The next thing you get,
Fighting spirit.
Fighting spirit
You
sounds
are
good.
Fighting spirit. Combat readiness. So you're ready to fight.
Because you're combat ready.
You're combat ready.
So before the battle even starts,
you are always ready.
you can take a defensive position. You can brace. Mm-hmm. What does that do for you?
You get dodge action benefits.
So the dodge action in DC20 means that anybody that tries to hit you is at disadvantage.
Right.
The next attack, the first attack that's going to hit you on the first turn of battle is going to have disadvantage because you're ready for it. You're braced for it. You knew it. You see it coming.
right?
You're always ready to fight.
And you have advantage on your next save, whatever it may be. So if somebody's trying to put a condition on you, like
That's huge.
bloodied or hindered or whatever all the conditions, we'll do a video on that too. But you get exposed. You have advantage on that saving throw,
That's amazing.
the next one you make. So because you're just ready. You're just ready for all this crap they're going to throw at you. You know it's coming. You see it. They're all
And-
assholes.
And what if you're there blocking? You're using a brace.
You're blocking,
But
you're
now-
deflecting, you're dodging, whatever. You flavor it how you want to. Maybe
Now-
do a backflip.
If you want to be proactive,
If you want to be more offensive,
you're going to advance,
you can take the advance.
which gives you free movement.
It is free movement, isn't it?
It's free. It's benefits of a move action right there. Boom, free movement. You can get into that fight.
So you can go
immediately.
5 spaces for free.
Boom.
I'm coming after you.
So you can, here we go, initiative battle starts, and you just zip straight out there, right into the fray. You don't
Ready
care.
for it. You go.
You want to draw first blood. Because you have that fighting spirit. You're a murderer.
I wouldn't go that far. Calm down. Bring it back.
That's what it is.
What else do you get with advance?
You get advantage on your next physical check.
That's
so
cool.
physical check, that's might or agility, and why would you have to make a physical check in combat?
Anyway, you can
If
jump
somebody's
over
trying to
things.
grapple you, or if you're trying to
grab
grapple
you.
somebody. So if you want to run up there and you want to just grab somebody around the neck or push him or whatever, you have advantage on that. So it's probably going to go off.
Headlock.
All kinds of fun. So you can brace defensively or you can advance offensively at the beginning of combat. You get second wind, which sounds like something you're familiar with from 5e, but it's very different.
Is it? Second wind means once per combat, if you start your turn bloodied.
What's bloodied?
That means if you're half or lower of your hit points.
You've been
Not your
pummeled.
height.
Not your height.
If you're only half your height,
If you're only half your height. No. I mean, if you're half your height, you're usually probably cleaved in half. You're probably dead. If you start your turn half or below half of your HP, you're considered bloodied. God damn it, Kent.
I know. See what I did there? It was invisible.
If you start your turn bloodied, you can regain 2 hit points.
Not temporary, right?
No,
Actual hit points.
it's like a boost of energy, right?
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline. That's what I would say. I would almost call this just adrenaline, not second wind.
That's coming
Adrenaline
later.
boost.
Don't be stepping on toes. We're doing the
Anyways.
adrenaline shit later.
There's no
Okay.
adrenaline later.
And not only do you get 2 hit points back, so a
Nice.
little boost, you get a stamina point to help you really get back into the fight. Really a second chance, once you're on the ropes, that rope-a-dope, you're getting hit, and then you get that burst, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna come get him, boom, 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 knock Sonny Liston down. Hell yeah.
You're
Why
pretty
Sonny
fit.
Liston? What do you got against him?
Well, he took down Muhammad. Or no, he took down. Who did he take down?
Your mom. So, yeah, you are at half hit points, which sucks. That's how you know when somebody's bloodied. That's the code word. So the DM can say, this one is bloodied, or you say, I'm bloodied. Now your healer knows you're on half hit points, and we got to help you. Well bloodied is if you're at a quarter, right, of your hit points. Health points. Health points.
Health points.
So this is like, yeah, no, I'm not bloodied anymore because I get 2 hit points back, which is big in DC20, especially at level 1. That's a lot of hit points. And that stamina point, that ever precious stamina point that you need for your maneuvers and your techniques.
I like Second Wind because in my head, I have the cinematic scene.
Yeah.
It's in Brandon's sentence.
Well, it took over, it kicked your brain out.
I just imagine this guy, this big brute, and you can see just him. He's gotten hit, he's bruised and bloodied, and he's got blood trickling out of his mouth, but you see him just kind of give this real creepy smile as blood, and he just wipes it off, and then he comes at you, and you're like, oh shit. I'm about to get my ass in a ringer here, because he's coming after me. That's what Second Wind is.
I don't like that very much.
You don't want to look down the barrel of a Second Wind champion here.
There's your fighting spirit.
Nice.
Makes sense.
Yes.
It feels like a fighting spirit.
Gosh.
Feels like you're just born. You came out of the womb swinging. You were just punching people as soon as you were born.
So that's it. Fighter's done?
Nope. You got a flavor feature. You always have a flavor feature. So this is Know Your Enemy. It's pretty straightforward. You can spend 10 minutes outside of combat studying somebody, talking to them, interacting with them.
1 minute or 10 minutes?
1 minute.
Sorry, 1 minute. Correct. Rick is correct. It's 1 minute outside of combat. Or you can spend 1 action point in combat. You get 4 action points. I don't think we said that, but you guys know this. You get 4 action points per turn on your combat. So you can spend an action point to just learn this in combat. And basically what you're doing is you're asking the DM to let you know, in relation to your own physical stats, is theirs higher, the same, or lower? And you pick one. You pick physical defense, might, agility, physical damage reduction, or health points. And then you get to assess whether theirs is higher, the same, or lower than yours. And then you do with that information what you will.
Right. Can I take this guy on? Maybe not.
Yeah, do I want to grapple them? Do I want to throw them? Do I just need to shoot an arrow at them because they're just too...
You can find a weakness too, though. That's great, because there's a technique that I liked, use Sunder Armor. And if they had physical damage reduction, I could use Sunder Armor to pull that away. If I knew he had physical damage reduction, then I would know to use that technique on him.
That's right.
So that really gives you foresight into your battle.
That's a great...
All kinds of fun things. You're a tactician. You're assessing your enemy, and you're like, hey, just like Rick said, find a weakness. Get in there.
Never played a fighter in my life, and I think I'm going to now. I'm ready to play a champion now.
Champion of what? Why champion?
My heart.
Ah, that all makes sense now.
Now it lines up, yeah.
That's where it came from, champion. Champion of Brandon's heart.
Yeah.
Aww.
I know, right? It's wholesome.
So sweet and wholesome. I hate the word wholesome, but it is wholesome.
Very rarely here at Bardic Aggravation do we have a wholesome moment, and that was one.
Oh, I think we need to hug.
I think we should.
Should we hug this out?
Kent, would you like a hug?
Nope. What's the flavor of the flavor feature?
Butter pecan.
Why?
Because it's crunchy a little bit, but nice and smooth.
How? You're just knowing somebody's defenses. That's crunchy and smooth?
It's smooth because you're watching them, and that's just being suave and smooth.
Okay,
you're just
that
kind of
makes sense.
watching, and then it's crunchy when you realize, I can take them on.
I'll give you an A for effort. And then there's level 2. So that was level 1. That's fun, right? Are you kidding me? That's all level 1. We say this all the time. We sound like a broken record, but it's true.
That was boring.
So your big thing is, your only thing at level 2, well, 2 things. Adaptive tactics. Let that sink in for a second. What could that be? Adaptive tactics.
Being able to adapt to the battlefield.
Okay, and how do you do this? What do you get?
So, you get what's called a D8 tactical die.
What kind of die is it?
It's a D8.
That's why it's called a D8 tactical die.
All right.
Look at that, naming conventions. And you get this when you roll initiative and at the end of each turn.
So you're always getting a die. A D8 die at the end of each turn.
So like Rick said, resources, continuously using your resources.
When did Rick say that?
Earlier.
Yeah, I did say it.
He did, I know.
Yeah, see?
But what if that guy edited it out?
So what does this tactical die do, Brandon?
So you can do
D8.
2 different things with it. And I see it as offensive or defensive.
Okay.
On the offensive side...
Just like your, what do you call it? brace or advance.
Yes.
You always got the defense and offense choices. You get in that theme because this is very cool. So you can play offensively, defensively, whenever you want with this champion.
Right. It's very cool. It also allows you to do what you want with it. You can be either offensive or defensive. Like
Pretty sure I just said that.
I had to just reiterate.
So how do you
I
apply
gotta
it?
edit that out.
How do you apply it offensively?
Well, so you can add it to your martial attack. So if you're going to attack somebody, you can add your D8 to that attack.
So you roll it and you get a 1 and you can add +1 to your attack.
Correct.
If you're Brandon.
Or you roll an 8, and that's cool because you can really stack on
With the heavy hits and brutal
extra
hits?
damage. with heavy-
Yes. So this is important because
crazy.
a lot of people misunderstood this. You're not adding that to your damage number.
No.
No.
You're adding it to your attack
hit.
number.
Right.
But what he's saying is because in DC20, 5 above, 10 above, you do more damage because the rolls matter, as we like to say. So this is going to get you closer to that 5 or 10 above for a heavy or brutal hit where you do extra damage.
Yeah.
Correct.
Chances are, unless you roll a 1 like Brandon, and then you're probably not going to get that.
No.
Could be one closer.
Yeah, you'll roll a 9.
If you could roll a 0 on a D8, he would do it.
On the other side of the coin,
The
this is what
defensive side.
This is what I think is really cool. I like this idea, especially for my subclass I want to go into. But you can do the deflect with it. The defect.
The defect. You can be a defective champion.
Deflective champion.
You can deflect. Okay, so you can subtract a D8 from an attack result when attacked. So if you attack me,
I feel attacked right now.
yes. If you attack me,
Deflect! Where's my D8?
I can roll my D8 and subtract that from your attack roll.
Exactly.
So that's really cool.
So you could turn that possible hit into a miss. How are you doing this? You deflecting? Are you ducking? Are you...
I would say I'd be like, yeah, or I put my shoulder up or something. Like if you're going at me with a stab, I might just, instinctively put my arm up, or maybe I
hit
have
him with
a
your
gauntlet.
BO?
Sure. Spell it.
And then what else?
You get, just like everybody at level 2, you get a talent.
You get a talent. Everybody at level 2 gets a talent.
Talents are...
What do you do with talents, Rick? What can you do with a talent?
You can get a technique. You can go down a martial trail. You can go down a wizard spell casting trail. You can
Path. He calls them trails, but they're paths.
trails pass.
He's a hiker.
You further customize your character.
You can take a multi-class thing from another class. You can take another thing from your own class if you didn't get them all the first time. Again, whole different video, but this is just another way to grab something and make your character more unique and customized to the character you want to play and create.
Yes.
Very well said.
Level 3 is where the subclass magic happens. We're going to bring you into the subclass laboratory room.
Reigning
Yay!
subclasses.
And just like every other class in DC20, there are there's 3, but the Paragon has 2 subclasses. So there's technically 4.
4-ish. It's 4.
Well, there'll be another one down the road. But right now,
These are just the early ones. These are just the very beginnings. Let's get some subclasses in there and shut everybody up. So here they are, so shut up. We're going to start with one called the Hero.
The hero.
Right away, I got a problem with the name.
I can be your hero, baby.
You already are.
Thanks. What would you rather it be? Let's say what in Kent's world
You
should
could
this
switch
be?
any of these to warrior or ass kicker.
Okay. Level
Something
3 ass kicker.
Marauder. Anyway,
Generic.
name aside, because you don't have to be a hero to benefit from this. It's not like you have to play your kid. What if your character's not a hero? What if you're kind of an anti-hero or a little bit villainy, a little bit,
Then you wouldn't play this.
You can't
You're
take
going to
this.
call
You
yourself a
can't take
hero, but mechanically this is a hero. Yeah, you can't take it. You
can't take it.
You gotta be a hero, man.
You have to play a good guy or you can't take this
If you're,
subclass.
if you're lawful evil, you
Not
can't
true.
take the subclass.
Not true. We don't have alignments in DC20.
You'd be a champion and a hero. You'd do
Champion
two good
hero.
things.
You are just bleh. You're a fucking paladin at that point. I don't care what you call yourself. They get a little spin on the fighting spirit.
Okay.
So as part of fighting spirit, remember you get the second wind. So now when you take the second wind, which you get the second wind stuff from it that we already talked about. We're not going to keep talking about it more. You get +5 to your attack checks. +5 until the end of your turn.
Holy crap.
When you take second wind, you can add a +5. So if you get,
Wow.
you can attack 4 times, you have 4 action points. You get +5 to each of those.
Wow.
Now, every time you use the same check, you go down, disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
But, you're going to get a +5, so you might get 2 of those off, or 3, it depends. If you're a dual wielder, it won't matter. You don't get the disadvantage on the second one anyway, so however many attacks you take, you get +5 to it. So, you're
Until
hitting
the end
everybody.
of your turn. So.
You're either hitting everybody, or you're just taking one guy down to nothing easily. They call it a fighting spirit, but again, it's a murderer. You're a murderer, not a hero. Maybe you're a hero among murderers. That's your adrenaline boost, and you can just, you also have what's called cut through. Cut through. Which is what he was kind of talking about with that sundering armor maneuver or technique that you can take. A technique, you don't have to worry about that because you can just do this. What this does is, if you get a heavy hit, like we said, that's rolling 5 above the armor class, physical defense of the enemy. If you get a heavy hit or above, you can ignore any of the enemy's physical resistance. So if you got a sword that does slicing damage, and they have resistance to that, no, they don't. Not to you. If they have resistance to bludgeoning damage and you have a hammer, you're fine. But you got to roll that 5 above. With your bonuses anyway, it's not too hard to get that 5 above somebody's physical defense, at least at these levels. Maybe higher up when you're fighting dragons and they have a much higher physical defense, this will be more of a challenge, but you can find ways to boost that anyway. So, yeah, you're just cutting through resistances. Only physical, not magical. So piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, slapping, kicking,
spitting, clawing.
Useless. And then you also get, as the hero, unyielding spirit to go with your fighting spirit. We talked about bloodied, how that means you're down to half your hit points or below. So now, in addition to if you take your second win and you get those +2 hit points, now you also get 1 temporary hit point at the start of each of your turns.
Whoa.
So you're unyielding to this. You're not taking me down to 0. I refuse. I'm going to get a temporary hit point. So you're just in the battle. You don't care. You don't feel the blows. It doesn't bother you. You don't see the blood. You're just in there and you're doing it. And then at the end of the battle, you're going to be like, medic, but it'll get you through the battle.
Does the temporary hit point stack every turn?
Temporary hit points don't stack.
Yeah, see? Boom. Cheerio.
And then they also have a flavor feature.
Stop it.
The hero. And this is this is another one where you're kind of outside of combat. This is going to matter. These involve things that have to do with like exhaustion. So you can ignore forced march, which whatever the fuck that is, because it's not in the rules right now. But I think we can make an assessment of what might a forced march be. Do you guys think?
If you're trekking on a long term, and you're just going on and on and on and on.
You're a marathonist. You could keep going.
You're a marathonist?
Marathonist. Like if
That
you
should
run marathons,
that
you
should
be
be
a
the name of the subclass. Marathonist.
Oh, that'd be a good
It's just
one.
a brand new word that Rick made up.
Marathonist.
I think forced movement is when you're still continuing past your exhaustion and you're just getting more exhaustion. Something like that. Or if somebody's just got a bayonet in your back and they're like, eat him out!
Do what?
I don't know. And you can also ignore encumbered, which is obviously you're carrying crap. Only one level of encumbered though. So you can't just keep stacking crap on top of yourself and get away with it. That's not how that works.
You just carrying the world like
You got,
Atlas. You're like
I'm gonna
Atlas.
take
You're
my
like, I
house
got
with me 'cause
everything.
I like my house. I'm gonna just carry it. So imagine it's like boot camp is no problem for you. Things like this where you're going and you guys got to get away from whatever and you're done running because you're all tired. And the guy next to you, he's had enough, and he drops, and you can go, give me your pack, and you take his pack, and you put it on you, and you lift them up, and now they can crawl along, and you're still trudging forward. Yes. The exhaustion doesn't matter to you. It's coming, but not yet.
It's like Samwise Gamgee.
It's like Sam, exactly like Sam.
I'm going to help you, and he helps Frodo. He puts that on his back.
And that's
In
why
fact,
he's a hero.
This is even called the adventurous hero.
Yeah,
so
the hero.
Yeah, it would be Sam where he does that. Here, you eat the last of the food. I'll take your pack. Everybody thinks you're the main character, but fuck that.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. Come on!
You'd be nothing without me, Frodo. You're just a thing I gotta drag
Carry
around.
you and the ring.
Give me the fucking ring. I'll do it. That's the first subclass done. You're a hero. What's next?
So next is the Sentinel.
The Sentinel.
Sentinel.
We like that name.
I like
I'm
that
happy
name.
with that name. Are you?
I like that one.
I like that.
It makes sense because he's gonna explain why.
Perfect sense. Because the Sentinel is the steadfast defender.
Okay.
Right? That's kind of their shtick, is they just defend.
Kind of, or it is.
Shtick.
Okay, and they get a couple things. The one cool thing this is the coolest thing I think. It's great.
Nobody cares. Just say it.
I want to hear it.
It's so great. It's the greatest thing ever. Deflect tactic. Okay?
Okay.
So,
Wow. Woo. That's a great job of building up the suspense. Now we can't wait to see what it is. Holy crap.
so if you go back to level 2 where you get your deflect thing you can do in your adaptive tactics, there you could subtract D8 from an attack result when attacked.
Right.
But now your deflect tactic
You can use it on somebody else.
you can use on somebody else within one
Wow.
space.
That's so hard to get out.
So it's like boom. Like, no, you will not take my friend.
Now that would make more sense to call this a hero, because you're helping other people. That's what heroes do.
No, I'm a sentinel.
Sentinel doesn't let things pass.
I don't
Sick.
want to be the hero. I just want to protect the hero. This will be more
That's
like
Sam.
Sam.
That makes you the hero.
Yeah, that.
It all comes back to Samwise Gamgee.
Man.
Always.
Let him go, you filth. Let him go!
So that's cool, and that's any attack. So that's any attack within one space of you. So if you're there and you're there, I can deflect you and I can deflect you. It's pretty awesome.
I get it. Move on.
Okay. Anyways, the other thing you get is defensive bash. Basically, what I see this is like you're getting attacked. You can push somebody away. When you use a defensive maneuver as a reaction, to an attack within one space. So you're attacking me. Yeah, you're attacking me, and I use like parry. Now I can make you make a physical save versus an attack check.
And then what happens if I don't?
And then if you fail, you get pushed one space away.
This is only if you use a maneuver, a defensive maneuver.
Defensive maneuver, yeah.
You have to use a defensive maneuver
Correct.
for this to work.
Yes,
Okay.
sidestep, parry, that kind of stuff.
Plenty of those. Plenty of defensive maneuvers. So.
Or
So
you can either be pushed one space, or you can decide to have them taunted until the end of your next turn.
Oh.
And that brings me to my next point.
Hence the red cape.
Not on my watch.
That's taunting.
Yeah, not on my watch.
Not on your watch.
So creatures that are taunted by you deal 1 less damage to targets within one space of you. So if you're like, hey man, go on, pick on somebody your own size, come fight me, and they choose not to fight you, they now deal less damage to those around you.
And don't they already have disadvantage against them
yeah,
anyway?
they have disadvantage against everybody if they have the taunt condition.
Except the person who's taunting them.
So it really goats them into trying to attack you.
So if you're the Sentinel, you better take taunt as a maneuver.
True.
So you are a protector. You're a hero.
Or you're using defensive bash, and then they become taunt, and you choose to taunt them, and then you stack them on not on my watch. So I think that's really cool. Everything's very defensive, very like protectory of my people.
Heroic.
Yep, they're not heroic. They're
Warrioric.
sentinel.
They're
They're sentinel-heroic. Sentinic.
Yeah, they're sentinel-heroic. Sentinel-centric heroic.
And then everybody gets a flavor feature. For them, it's the Vigilant Watcher.
Okay.
So normally, when you take like watch or your long rest, there's 2 4-hour periods, right?
Could be.
So if you choose not to sleep on that, most of the time you get exhaustion.
Right.
But not if you're a sentinel. If you spend both 4-hour periods doing light duty, so just kind of whatever, whittling with some sharpening, now you get advantage on might saves to avoid exhaustion.
If you spend both 4 hours, so 8 hours not sleeping?
Correct. If you spend them doing light duty,
So you never have to sleep?
you just gain advantage on the might save to avoid exhaustion. So if you do that, normally you gain exhaustion. You have to roll a might save or whatever.
Right.
But now you have advantage. So now you can stave off that exhaustion.
What's the flavor?
The flavor? Just basically chocolate.
Why?
Dark, right? And smooth.
How's it dark?
I would say dark chocolate. Let me back up the truck. Dark sea salt caramel. Because it's smooth and you don't really know, and it just makes you feel good.
And you also weaseled out of the other one. What's the one for the hero? What's their flavor feature?
No,
force
that's
arch.
you, dude.
You are the flavor feature guy.
It's Superman, because he's a hero.
Can't argue with that.
No, you can't.
Damn.
Anyways, that's Sentinel for you.
Okay, that's done. Here we go with the Paragon. We've heard all about the
Paragon.
Paragons. There's 2 of them. Rick's going to tell you about the
Two different
Paragon.
Paragons. The first one.
What's the point of a Paragon first, by the way?
Supposed to be the fighters, the champions. You're like the most fighteriest fighter.
Yeah, you're building up the stuff you learn from levels 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Usually with these things.
Continue with your training, right?
You don't want to be a hero. You don't want to be a sentinel. You just want to continue being a champion, fighter.
Super fighter.
Take it away, Rickard.
Here we go. You can pick as one of yours, because there's 2 in there, and you just pick one of them. Champion Resolve. So when you use one of those tactical dice, do you guys remember what that was earlier?
It's a D8.
Wow, you do know. High five.
We're awesome.
Assault. You gain extra damage.
D8?
No, just 1 damage. You gain 1 damage. When you use your tactical die, you gain 1 extra damage.
So you get that plus the D8 to your attack,
Plus the
and then
D8.
you get an extra damage as well.
You get an extra damage on top of that.
That's pretty cool.
That is
And then if you add...
So if you're brutal and stuff, it just piles on, right? You're going boom, 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 boom above and beyond.
Yeah, you can do a lot of damage with that.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Your damage can shoot up. Big time. You can also use this to deflect. So
Offensive.
if they miss, they take damage.
What?
Yeah,
Ooh.
so when you block them, you're actually blocking them with your weapon maybe and cutting them.
Maybe they hit themselves in the
Or they
face
hit
with
themselves
their
in
hammer.
the head, or you
You just
block it
bounce
back.
up.
But they take damage when they miss you.
How much damage?
Just 1.
All right.
But that's still pretty cool.
When they miss the...
And DC20, 1 damage is a lot.
Yes.
Especially
It's a
level
lot.
1.
Uh-huh. It starts adding up.
3. This is level 3.
So this Champion's Resolve basically pumps up damage on both sides.
Yeah, defensively and offensively.
Whenever you're using that tactical die, you get this, and you get to use that tactical die every round.
Yes.
So every round you're adding damage wherever you want. Front or back side.
That's your whole
That's it.
That's it for that.
champion. What's it called?
Champion result.
Champion's Resolve.
Champion resolve. Okay.
Champion's Resolve. So your fighter's resolve.
That
your
gets
warrior's
added
resolve.
on to your fighter resolve. Okay, so that's your first Paragon you can take, which is all about doing damage no matter what.
If they miss you, they still take damage. It's
great.
pretty good.
That's
I like that.
great.
I like that.
They're
one.
gonna think twice about attacking you again.
Why wouldn't they?
Every time I miss that guy, I still take damage. What the hell?
Why are you hitting yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
That one's
What's
great.
the second Paragon? And then
Second one you could pick is Disciplined Combatant. So you can spend 1 SP to gain the benefit of your combat readiness.
stamina point.
Your stamina point. Yes, you're going to spend that to get your combat readiness. You guys remember what combat readiness was?
No.
You're ready to go. You get brace or
Advance.
Advance. So you can do one
yes.
of those 2.
So you spend that to gain the benefit of that anytime.
Oh, so normally it's at the beginning when you
Beginning.
roll first initiative at the start of your turn, start of combat.
Start of combat.
Now you can do it on any turn,
Anytime.
brace
Anytime you want.
or
Yep.
advance.
That's pretty
You
cool.
just got to spend that SP, which we've already been talking about. You need to spend this SP so you can gain it back.
Stamina point,
The stamina needs to be used. You need to use this stuff.
and you'll get it back every
And-
time you use a maneuver or
Yeah.
hurt somebody or something.
You're getting them back. You're getting them back. So use these things up
Wow, so that's cool. You
That's
can
pretty
use
cool.
those all throughout the battle.
throughout the battle, and you can use Second Wind when you're not bloodied.
How does that work?
Anytime?
Anytime you want to,
Once
you
per
can use Second
combat.
Wind.
You don't have to wait till you're bloody to
You don't
use
have
it.
to wait till you're hurt to use Second
You can
Wind.
do it
So
before anybody even touches you.
you can spend that SP to gain the benefit of your combat readiness in the middle of the fight, and then
SP,
the next
stamina
turn,
point.
Stamina
People don't know
point.
this game yet. Stop SPing them.
SP. Use a stamina point to gain that benefit of combat readiness immediately. Then the next round you used Second Wind to get that stamina point back automatically.
It's very fightery. Makes you feel like you're really building upon what you know.
You're doing all kinds of damage, and you're hard to kill. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're a fighter.
You're a fighter's fighter, and
You're a
either way,
champion
you are kind of doing something.
warrior. Warrior would be better. We're gonna vote for warrior instead of champion.
I like warrior.
I like champion.
Shut up.
You're the champion of fighting. Like you're like okay, so you as a fighter have gone through extensive training and you fought and you are now a champion because of what your training has put you through.
What makes you a champion?
Why
You have
wouldn't
to,
you
win,
just
you have to
be
win a contest
Why
or a
wouldn't you
battle.
just be a warrior?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of being somebody's champion?
Yeah, but somebody has to
I'm-
decide
I'm
you're
your,
a champion.
I'm your chosen fighter. You're our champion.
Somebody has to decide that you are one, though. Who said you're a champion? You just decided I'm a champion? Nobody will take you seriously. Nobody will believe you. Show me your badge. Show me the little medal you won. Let me see your trophy.
You
You
have a
can
belt? Do you have a
self-appoint
championship
yourself
belt?
as a champion.
You have a
if you can.
championship belt?
Do you make your own belt at level 2?
Yeah, well, how do you become a champion?
And
It's a flavor
obviously
feature.
you
Maybe a
can as a
champion or
flavor
something.
feature if you want.
Maybe your fighter's just a champion of pie eating, and then he decided to start fighting.
Why?
You're still
Yeah,
a champion.
That's a great backstory.
My only problem is it seems like the Paragons don't get as much.
They don't.
Right? They don't get as much. There's no flavor feature for them. Why is there not a flavor feature for them? And can I just grab one of the other 2 flavor features?
Well, you should know that you get a trade point as well, right?
You do get a trade point.
As a Paragon. So you get a trade point when you take a Paragon subclass, so you can get another skill in a trade, which may or may not be important depending on your GM and your campaign. I think they always should be. Always. That's a very big part of who a character is, what they know how to do because of trades.
I see your argument, but the Paragon was created because of the fact that if you didn't want to play a hero, and you didn't want to play somebody who was defensive,
Okay.
so you chose the Paragon class. It kind of just builds upon levels 1 and 2. That's all it is. I don't think it's not really a subclass in itself because it doesn't. You don't feel like anything else other than a fighter. You don't have a specialization as you do like a hero or your defensive thing.
Right.
So it's just built upon that. So yes, it naturally is going to feel less.
Well, they're
my
technically not subclasses. It's not a subclass of your class. This is your class. You've opted not to take a subclass of champion, so this is just you continuing champion and making the champion base stuff stronger, better, cooler, faster,
Wiser.
wiser.
But I think this Paragon should have got both those. Because the hero got 3 things and a flavor feature. The Sentinel got 3 things and a flavor feature. The Paragon got 1 thing.
Would it be too powerful that the Paragon got both of these, though?
That's the math I don't understand. That's not.
We
I'm
don't
not
know
a game
math here.
designer.
We're not math people.
I'm not a game designer, but to me it seems like it would be the Paragon would be super cool if I got both of those.
True.
They would be comparable to me. I
I'm
don't know.
sure they balanced the power out so that the coach is good about balance. So the dungeon coach.
Definitely someone who builds this stuff that's above us that knows that.
This
kind of stuff.
probably makes sense, power balance wise. You're saying maybe choice wise, it doesn't feel like you have as much to do.
You choose one or the other. I mean, with your hero, you had 3 different things and a flavor feature. I don't know if it's 3 things that aren't as powerful as just this one. I don't, like you said, I don't know the math. Mm-hmm. I would take a hero or Sentinel over a Paragon. So maybe that tactical die, being able to give damage all the time, every round, is as good as everything in Hero. I don't know mathematically. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I guess we wouldn't know without playing it, right? I mean, once we play it, maybe
Play
you
it.
go, oh,
For
geez,
sure.
this is
For sure.
pretty good.
If that's your class fantasy, your character fantasy is to just play a badass in the combat and on the field and all that, you're not going to get better than this because you do have, just with the 9 maneuvers alone, plus all this other stuff added in, you have so many things you can do and choices you can make. So your fighter isn't just standing there just whacking at people. You're doing all kinds of different things on the battlefield, different maneuvers, different things, different ways to do damage, different ways to deflect damage back on them or protect your or one of your allies or stuff things. So this is, you're welcome. Happy birthday and Merry Christmas. This is great. Everybody who loves playing the fighter class should be drooling over this. Any one of these. So yeah, you can feel like a hero. So maybe the hero is kind of apropos. You can feel like one of those Greek heroes, mythological heroes.
Yeah.
Roman, anything. It
Gladiator.
really lends itself to that. Gladiator, any of that stuff. Norse mythology. You can make a Viking out of this so easily.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what the barbarian has to offer that this doesn't. Because this seems to cover all of the combat bases when it comes to just a straight up skillful tactician fighter.
Right.
Well, that's your thing, too, right? You think the barbarian should be a subclass of fighter anyway.
I don't think it should be. It should be.
We
We can talk about that in another video, though.
That needs to be a whole video.
What?
You want to just absolutely.
Bye.